So in this video, we've got a simple tutorial for using LightBurn on our Thunder Nova lasers here in the makerspace at FirstBuild. Let's check it out. Okay, we're gonna open up LightBurn here on the desktop. Now this instance of LightBurn is specifically mated to these lasers. So the power settings and everything for the materials have been adjusted. Again, if you need to do like a really fine engrave, we have the Thunderbolt over there that is really, really good at engraving. But if you need to do really large pieces or cut cleanly, these are better. So we're gonna do kind of a larger piece that might not fit on the bolt, but doesn't need as fine granularity in the detail. So I'm going to import an image that we're going to image trace. Because normally you would have to have Illustrator or some other graphic design software to be able to take like an image or like a hand-drawn item and then convert it to a vector file. LightBurn can do all that for you, and that's what I'm going to show you now. So I have on my thumb drive a file. Go down to all supported files. On my thumb drive, pretty please. There we go. And I'm going to open a picture of a thing that I want. There we go. The I love you, Mom. We can rotate this 90 degrees so we're all looking at it correctly. I'm going to shrink it down. So you can right click and you can do an image trace, just like you would in Illustrator. If you had an image that you wanted to adjust, there's also an adjust image in here, so you can do a portrait or something on a piece of wood if you wanted to. All that in LightBurn. Okay, so when we hit image trace, you can see that the pink line is outlining our black, which is really great because we can then engrave inside all of those lines. We do have like the pink dots and all that stuff, which is gonna kind of be a pain. I probably should have done it on a clean piece of paper, but you know, it is what it is. So we'll see what this gets us and we'll hit OK. Now you have your original image and then you have the line image. So we're going to deselect show for the image. So then we get this, which is real noisy, but what we can do is just delete a bunch of things. So we're going to right click, hit ungroup. I'm going to drag across the top and just hit, whoop, wrong one, wrong drag. Go from one direction, you'll get everything that's included in that drag, and we'll get rid of a bunch of stuff here. But if you drag from the left to the right, it will get everything that is fully in that box. And if you drag from the other direction, it'll get anything that's touching that box. Yeah, so now that we've gotten rid of all of the nonsense, it is a line image. So we're gonna put this on a piece of plywood, and then we're going to engrave it. So we're gonna hit engrave and assign. And you see that the mode changed from line to fill. So the fill, it will raster in all of that, so it'll be a black line. If you just do line, it'll just do the strokes, the lines around it. I wanna turn off the air, which just turns the machine to the low air pressure and not the high air pressure. So up here in the cuts layers, you have output, show, and air. Output means it's going to send that layer to the machine. If you want to do a combination of engraving certain things and cutting through certain things, those are two separate jobs, so don't export everything all at once. I guess you could. So I had the image sent out and I don't want that. So now I'm going to click on the computer screen. It's going to be black. This is what I intended to happen. And it is going to take 6 minutes and 48 seconds. That's very important here in the makerspace because you don't want to start a job that's an hour long at 7:30 in the evening during community hours because you're not going to be here when it's finished. So make sure that you have allotted enough reservation time on firstbuild.com so that you can finish the job that you intend. I'm going to click OK. Going to use the frame tool. The little frame button moves the laser head on the actual machine with the little red indicator laser. So it doesn't actually cut with the red light, it just shows you where the head is going to move. And by hitting frame, you make sure that your image can fit on there, or if the camera is installed, you can also use the camera. So for this demonstration, I grabbed a piece of wood from our scrap pile. We have a lot of really nice material in that scrap pile. We have material for you to purchase here in full sheets, but if you just need something really small, scrap pile's free, go grab a chunk, throw it on here. On the new lasers, the way that it homes the Z height, which is different than the Thunder laser, the Thunder has a touch probe where this has a brake beam sensor. So you take your piece of material, you place it in between these two sensors on either side. You use the autofocus, which I'll show you where that is. And then as the Z height bed will raise up, that material will break that beam and it'll stop. So to do that, you set your material again in between those two sensors, hit home, it's already on autofocus, and when you hit enter, the bed will start to raise up. And then it will break that beam, and there we go. Our image is ready, our settings are good, our material is Z-heighted and it's laying flat. We need to turn on the vacuum system, which is right here, and we're ready to go. Let's send the image to the laser so we can get cutting. In the laser tab here in the corner, there is a send button. Going to click send, a little dialog box will pop up asking you to name it. Doesn't really matter what the name is. Hit enter, and then it will send it through the power of cables to the laser. You can hit file. It has all the different files that are listed. That's exactly what I want to cut. For redundancy, just to make sure, you can hit track and the laser head will move just like it did a minute ago to make sure that it's inside your material bounds. And then once you're happy with that, select run, hit enter, and off it goes. Say I want to cut out this cool heart that I just made, I can select this outer line, go over to the offset tool, and I can create an offset. And that's just going to create another line, a little bit bigger than our outer line, and I'm going to change that to a cut. The material library, that plywood is a little more than 1/4 inch. Click this little drop down, cut. I'm going to assign it a different color. It's because it has a different job. And I do want the air. I don't want to output anything else except for that cut line. So now whenever our engraving is done, I can send just this cut line and then I can have my nice little wooden sign all ready for me. So I'm going to send it to the machine. Just like that. Going to make sure that that is zeroed. If everything is the same and you send a file to this machine, you can just hit start pause if you're confident in it. So there we go. I was able to hand draw an image, bring it into LightBurn, use the image tray software to make exactly what I want, use the offset tool to be able to add a little buffer so that I can cut it out. And now I have an amazing handmade item I can give as a gift. I can keep for myself, straight from my head to my hands. It's pretty amazing. You can use these lasers, the Thunderbolt, the 2 Thunder Novas here at FirstBuild. Again, go to firstbuild.com and reserve time on those machines, and we'd love to see you making something cool.